A Netflix original film.
The Wi-Fi isn't working.
In the event of a global communications breakdown, do the following. Stay inside.
What just happened here is happening everywhere.
Avoid strangers.
We've all been deserted.
I don't trust them.
And most importantly, do not panic. Julia Roberts.
What happens next?
Mahershala Ali.
I knew something was coming.
Leave the World Behind. Rated R. Now playing only on Netflix.
Today on CityCast Chicago, the debate of the Bears' future home continues. Memberships to give as gifts this season, and the competition continues to find the best Chris Kendall Market mug. I'm here with executive producer Simone Alicea to talk about it all. It's Tuesday, December 12th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Morning, Simone. How you feeling?
Good morning, Jacoby. How are you?
I'm feeling good. Excited once again to talk to the folks about the CityCast Chicago membership. If y'all haven't heard already, we just launched our membership program, which means you can become a member and help support your favorite Chicago podcast just in time for the holiday season. All you got to go to is membership.citycast.fm. To celebrate, we also want to talk about some other Chicago memberships you can give as gifts this holiday. Simone, what you got for us?
Yeah, there's no shortage of Chicago institutions, for example, that, you can get a membership for places like, the Art Institute, Adler, et cetera. But one thing that caught my eye, because we have an episode coming out tomorrow about Chicago snacks, is this Chicago snack box. Now, this might be more of a subscription than a membership per se, but it's the same vibe, right? You pay a little bit, and every month they send you a month of Chicago snacks. So I'm looking at the picture right now, and I see some Bittner's Crunchy Curls, which I know are going to come up in tomorrow's conversation. Also Fruities, Chews, etc.
I need the Fruities and the Chews.
That's a subscription you can get for somebody who is, it's about $25 a month if you go for the monthly box. And what I love is that you can give the subscription to somebody who doesn't live in Chicago, but maybe misses Chicago things. So that's my pick for the membership I would gift to somebody. What about you, Jacoby?
Honestly, the one you just said is one I would want somebody to give to me. Amazing. For somebody to take the hard work out of me having to go to the gas station every couple of days to get some snacks would be fantastic. One that caught my eye, and I was considering maybe gifting to somebody like my mom who really loves wine. Easy Does It is this bar up in Logan Square that I've gone to a few times. And honestly, one of my favorite places to hang out when they ain't got a line wrapped around the block. But they do have an Easy Does It wine club. And they got a few different options, like, $45 for 2 bottles. You can get a membership all the way up to 4 bottles. It comes with those types of perks, 5% off a thing, heads up on events. But it's somebody who, isn't really familiar with wine. I like to drink it every now and then, but can't really say I know anything about it. Again, this is one of those things where somebody sort of taking the work out of it for me and just like sending it to me. I know somebody like my mom or a few of my friends who would love something like that. So the Easy Does It Wine Club is something I'm considering gifting this holiday.
I love that too, because, in addition to the actual wine that you get, really the gift is being able to talk about wine in a very, intelligent way with the rest of your friends. And so when you're out to dinner with your friends and they're like, what should we order? You're like, well, here's what I'm looking for in my glass of wine, right? Like, I don't know. This
2020, I think it was from the Amalfi Coast. It's just something I've been sipping on this month.
Something I've been sipping on this month. I'm really looking forward to this Barcelona collection next month. Jacoby, if you had to pick one of Chicago's fine institutions, one of the big ones, to get gifted a membership for that you would receive as a gift, which one would you pick?
All right, so right now, because of the weather, it's got me thinking about sort of brighter days, better days, flowers outside. And so you can't go wrong with like one of the conservatories, maybe Lincoln Park, Garfield Park, but I'm going to go with recency bias. Over the weekend, I went and saw the lights up at the Botanic Garden. And I know it's like north of Chicago, but not that far outside, right in the North Shore. And it was I think it's the first time in a few years I had walked that, and the very first time I ever saw the light show. And it was pitch black outside, and all I wanted to do was to see the Botanic Gardens lit up in the spring or in the fall or even in the summer doing this thing. And so, one of the conservatories, the Botanic Gardens, something like that in nature I think would be a great gift. Something to anticipate as we hope the mild winter turns into a great spring.
Yeah, for sure. Well, another gift that you can give this holiday season is a membership to CityCast Chicago, which I think is great. I'm so excited about this, Jacoby. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. Basically what it is, you pay a little bit, something like $8 a month, maybe $15 a month if you got it like that, right? And what it means is you get to support your favorite Chicago podcast, CityCast Chicago, and the newsletter, Hey Chicago. Make sure that we can keep bringing you episodes every day, newsletters every day. And it is just a wonderful way to say thank you. And like I said, you can get it for yourself. You can get it for somebody else. So surely another CityCast Chicago fan who would appreciate this as a gift.
Hey, you own some ad-free listening. And so, I think this is cool, G. For 3 years, we worked really hard to get the podcast and the newsletter out every day, but we know there are some things that we have worked on and done over the last couple of years that we were like, man, we love to give this out on like some type of bonus content. And so now hopefully we'll have the ability to do that with folks. And so I'm really excited for that. I love that this entire segment has sounded like one large ad campaign, but the truth is these are some of our favorite things to do and see around the city, whether it's Chicago snacks, drinking wine up at Easy Does It, going out to the Botanic Gardens. And so adding CityCast Chicago is one of those favorite things to do in Chicago that now has an opportunity, give a little bit more.
Yeah, and you can do it at membership.citycast.fm. That's where you can find all the information and sign up. Also, my favorite thing is every time someone signs up for a membership, we get a notification, and it is the just best part of my day so far, I'm learning. It's my very favorite thing. So if you want to make me feel warm and fuzzy inside, me personally, that's also a great reason, I think, to become a member of CityCast Chicago.
So a little bit of news, Simone. The Bears' search for a new home is making headlines once again just before the end of the year, as reports surface that the team, which is currently 5-8 and somehow mathematically, realistically in the playoff hunt, they're looking into whether or not they could build a new stadium in the south parking lot of Soldier Field. It feels like every couple months we got something else here.
Yeah.
Right? Going into 2024, our friends over at Axios were looking at what's going on with the Bears stadium story. And currently they own the lot out in Arlington Heights, are trying to maybe get some money for a stadium out there. They then talked to a few suburbs. And now we're back around at the opportunity about the conversation around can they, is it possible to build right near Soldier Field, even potentially impacting Soldier Field? How do you feel about all this, Simone? I know you ain't a huge Bears fan.
No, I'm neither a giant fan of the Bears, the team. And this story too, while it is interesting, it is also tiresome. I'll just say it. It's a little tiresome, right? As you say, every single month there is it feels like there's a new the Bears are talking to this mayor, or they're talking to this mayor, or they've talked to Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, or they have floated this idea or floated this idea. And everyone just kind of wants to know, are they going to stay in Chicago? Are they going to stay in Soldier Field? Now, granted, their contract at Soldier Field, their lease isn't up until 2033. So there is still plenty of time. But it's this big question that's just kind of hanging over this beloved team in the city of Chicago. Also, I think there's just so much baggage that comes with Soldier Field, right? The fact that we are still paying off the last renovation, I think, does not sit well with a lot of people. And so any idea of the city, anybody, like any taxpayers at all, giving anything to some kind of renovation, I think just it causes some kind of tension. It's worth noting, too, that the reports that came out late last week about this sort of new idea of potentially building something on the south parking lot, basically some sources told a few folks that the Bears had sort of hired a survey to kind of just explore the idea. So of all the things we have talked about, it is in the, in the farthest phases of being a reality. It's not like, having purchased land in Arlington Heights and starting construction and sort of being, that the stumble there has to do with whether taxpayers in Arlington Heights are going to pony up any money for these renovations and for like the street renovations around it. But I don't know. It's just feels like we still have a lot more time on this story before we really get to an answer, which as a journalist, I always find I struggle with. And it's a little bit frustrating. Like, let me know when something new is happening. You know what I mean?
I mean, on the one hand, feasibility, like you got your Friends of the Park, the organization that, in many ways challenges mega developments, particularly around the lake where, that's public land. It's not supposed to be expanded upon by private ventures, let alone a multi-billion-dollar stadium that I see no way could be built right there without Chicago taxpayer money. And so it feels like we're being manipulated once again, just like a sort of carrot being dangled in front of Chicago fans, just to get people a little more interested in paying attention to the team as, they get their first back-to-back wins in like 2 years.
I'll be honest, when you said that record 5-8, I was like, oh, really? Good for them. Like, okay.
I mean, they handle business over the weekend. I watched the game. Give them credit. I was certain the entire time they was going to let Detroit score 17 points in a row. But it just feels like it's like a carrot dangling to try to bring fans back to pay attention at this point in the season. Maybe its ticket sales is dipping. I don't see any chance they stay over there without some major ordinances being passed, some major taxpayer money being ponied up. Definitely against a lot of protests. And then who wants construction on Lakeshore Drive?
More construction on Lakeshore Drive. More.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, if it is possible, right? Would Chicagoans rather the Bears be at or near Soldier Field or out in Arlington Heights? I think still remains the question. And, if all of these hurdles weren't in the way and it was just a thought experiment, I'd love for them to stay, for me personally, 15 minutes away. But yeah. I feels like that ship is sailing.
Well, I actually don't even know that ship is sailing, Jacoby. I actually don't know if I totally agree with that, because again, I think the actual possibility, again, their lease does not end until 2033. Like,
but they can get out of that early.
They can get out of that early, but they got to pay to get out of it early. They're
a couple of dollars.
But given how hard they're pushing to get, for example, public funding in Arlington Heights, the Bears want to save money, right? They don't want to spend money. They don't have to.
Oh, the Bears want to save money. That's a phrase I've heard over the last 30 years.
Demonstrably, this is an institution that does not desire to spend more money than they have to. And so with that, I think there always remains that possibility. Fundamentally, it's going to be a business decision, and what can they get and who can they get it from, and we just don't know yet. And we'll just have to see. Worth noting too, the whole reason the Bears want a new stadium, a renovated stadium, is because Soldier Field, I believe it's the smallest in the whole league,
and they don't own it.
They don't own it, and it would be nice. They have there's a debate about the roof. Should there be a roof?
Folks want a dome. Allows you to. I've seen the domes in parts of the other NFC North teams like Minnesota and Detroit. Then Then ice.
I'm sure it is, especially when it's, -5 degrees outside and you're trying to get fans into the stadium. But yeah, I think we just don't know. We just don't know until the decision is made. So like I said, we'll see when that actually happens.
One more thing before we get out of here. The Chris Kendall Market Mug bracket is in round 2 over at Hey Chicago. The second round, final 4. Simone, who are our remaining contenders?
Yeah, so right now we've got the competition between the 2010 mug versus the 2014 mug. So that is a short little red boot with a beautiful illustration versus a sort of tall. She's kind of tall and curvy, right? Like she's like,
yeah, I was like, that handle is poking.
Yeah. And then the second round between 2023, this year's mug, and 2011, which is a short, kind of fat, curvy mug versus a blue boot. And I think it's interesting because on our Instagram, somebody commented that if a boot doesn't win, then
then everything is fake.
Everything is right. They were like, this is not real.
Then this award loses credibility.
So for the boot lovers out there, I'm not going to tell you the exact numbers so far, but I'm looking at the responses we've been getting so far, and the boots are not faring well. So if you're a Chris Kendall Market boot mug lover, you should get to voting.
Not you teasing the behind the scenes.
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to stir the pot or anything. I'm just pointing it out that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, I don't see how the 2011 blue boot beats that short, thick 2023, John. I mean, like we talked about said this all the reasons last week, right? All of the reasons why you like that mug. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like the tall boot is definitely going to beat out on the red one. But that's, for me, we putting all that aside, the art, I just think the art on 2023 looks the coolest. Like, if it comes down to that sort of taller cream mug with a Santa Claus on it, get that out of here. I don't want that.
Well, we're going to see. Voting in this round is open through noon on Thursday. We've got a link to the show notes if you want to cast your vote now.
Want to give another shout out to our executive producer, Simone Ali Sayed. Thank you for joining us today, my G.
Thanks.
Before I let you go, do you remember the link to become a member of CityCast Chicago? No, don't worry about it. I got you. It's membership.citycast.fm. That's where you can support your favorite Chicago podcast and newsletter and become one of our founding members. Again, that's membership.citycast.fm. Become one of the friends. Become one of the cousins. Of course, I got some good news for you. The Bulls are back home tonight against the NBA champion Nuggets. Kobe, why is this good news? Well, the Bulls have shown a little more sign of life over the last few weeks, and they got a real tough stretch of road games coming up. So come on, cross your fingers with me, and maybe we can get back to 500. As always, I appreciate you for reading, listening, becoming a member. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow, and we talk about Chicago snacks. Yes, pop, candy, chips. We talking about our favorites. We talking about the best. Talk to you then. Peace. You'll have no idea because they edited it out, but Simone definitely almost choked right there. Almost died on the mic. Get you some water.
I'm fine.